Arnab, always a pleasure. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, sir.
This is your third year in a row
That's right.
as Vice President of the IITBAA Alumni Association. Like always, another successful event, great content,
We'll
great
see.
people.
Not done yet.
Well, so far,
Yeah.
it's beyond lunchtime now, so it looks good.
Yeah.
One thing that I wanted to ask, the leadership, is that every year you have to think of what to build content.
That's right.
Okay,
Yeah.
who do we get? Okay, and then there are also
The question of who do we get? Who we can get? These big people have schedule problem and then approach problem. Yeah, go ahead.
and the other challenge is this is a not-for-profit organization.
That's right.
And you have to make sure that you're trying to meet the expenses. So sponsorship also becomes a challenge, and we have to provide the right value for the right sponsor.
Yes.
So it is coming together of many things.
It's a complex problem.
It is. It is. So that's what I want to learn from you: the making of a conference
Yeah.
year after year.
Yeah, it's the question is hard, but you managed to ask it very well. The answer is even harder. There is no one single way to say, oh no, this is how we do things, right? It's a very organic process, and as an organism there is a plan, but the plan doesn't work. Let's say we start with, okay, what are we going to do this year, right? So you put these are the topics that people are talking about or want to know about, and then we put them on a map and they said, okay, who can we get? That's the next. And then say, who is approachable? No, we don't know everybody personally, but then last year we got Jensen Huang. It was a 6-month work. Somebody helped me to get connected to somebody else. He connected to somebody else, and it took like 3 months to reach Jensen Huang's office, and then took another 4 months to actually make that work. So that's just one speaker, but that's keynote speaker. We do that. So we get help from friends, networking. Each board member, they try to do their best. With this year we had problem. We approached a lot of good speakers. They said yes, and then they said no, I'm not available. There's a schedule conflict. So and then eventually, as you're saying, we're a little scared this year. Are we going to get good value speakers? And looks like it's really worked out very well. Everything kind of fell into place very last moment. It was kind of making us nervous. So that's one story. There is no one good like a master plan. We have to make it work. Money is a problem. Money is sponsorship and registration. We keep the registration costs very cheap so that more people can join. $75-100 nothing these days. The lunch and coffee cost more than that, right? So I would say that is a bigger challenge. We can generate content, we can bring in speaker, but we also bring in sponsorship, which is also speakership. So you have to keep it balanced. So this year, as I say, was tough for us. We didn't raise as much money that we should raise to run a conference like this. So we'll be running negative. Fortunately, we have some balance, some reserve from previous years, so we'll get through. But definitely next year, I want all the sponsors to come in and support this organization.
It is a great organization, and IITs are obviously, they have known before also, but even more so important nowadays. So the content is not a problem. The connectivity is not a great connectivity, great network, right? So that's what it is. And it is a challenge for most non-profit organizations here who are focused on technology entrepreneurship. Some years you go through highs and then you have the troughs. So we keep working on it. But the good thing is you guys are constantly at it, trying to create it,
That's a good thing, that even though we did not raise enough money, we're not cutting any corners. We did exactly what we did last year. Yes, we're kind of having to pay out of our own reserve. Fortunately, we have that. So, yeah.
I want to switch gears. Besides volunteering full time for this organization, especially 5 months before the conference, you have to, make sure that you are making your ends meet, and you are working for a great startup, Photonics. And you focus on Asia, especially Japan.
Yes.
And I remember just 2 days before the conference, you were in Japan. You just flew in.
I was in Japan.
So
Tokyo yesterday. Yes.
that's where I wanted to bring your focus now, is to see to a growing startup, a promising startup, and you manage the customer relationships and biz dev and strategy, working with the customers in Asia. So how does that come into fold, and your role with that?
Yeah, that's interesting. I was not actively doing a job or anything for quite a few years, even though I was helping a lot of smaller startups. But this sort of came along because I happened to come across the CEO, and he said, "Hey, now we want to do business in Japan, so please." So I got involved a little bit. I thought, okay, let's just try it, and then I'm kind of getting more and more involved as things are happening. They got a footprint in Japan. Fortanix got some customers. Now we are trying to create partnerships to scale up. So I'm helping. And as I was saying, I just came back from Tokyo yesterday. I think Fortanix is a great company in the sense, they are in a space which is, everybody is in security space. It's very important these days because data is so vulnerable and everywhere there is data. But Fortanix solves the security problem at a much deeper level. Not stopping people from coming in, not identity, not this, not password. It's really, if you get through everything, even in spite of that, how can your data be secured? How can it be stolen? Or even if it is stolen, it cannot be read. So that's the fundamental, sort of tech value proposition of Fortanix, and I'm more excited to help them now because they're also right now, as I speak, building a new solution for securing, making Gen AI safe. How to keep all the chat GPT kind of applications. This can be very security vulnerable. You don't know what you're putting in, and you're not sure what will come out, whether I'm even supposed to see that, right? How do you bring in all these guardrails around when the Gen AI something is trying to, doing its magic and spitting something out? How do you make sure through that entire process there are guardrails around it? There are policies around what can be spit out, what cannot be spit out, what can I ask, what can I not ask, what kind of data I can feed into the language model so that it doesn't start leaking. So, and I am personally, now that I'm kind of got involved in this space a little bit since about a year and a half ago, that's a great, I think the enterprises will appreciate that this AI safe AI product. So, nutshell, yes, I do this for a living. Also, as you said, we have to our personal ends meet, but this is more than that. I'm here because I think I'm getting more involved because I think this is a great space to be in.
Absolutely. So again, thank you for doing what you do, and appreciate you working together with the board and the rest of the volunteer team to put this thing together.
Yeah, and I want to say, Mateen, this gentleman helps us every year. He not only does interview, he helps us in all aspects of putting this together. So thank you very much.
My pleasure. Yeah. Thank you.